State Representative Jackie Chan of Quincy is in his office at the State House on Beacon Hill in the middle of August. Jackie, what are you doing there?
Contrary to popular belief, I do have a job. Still to do. It's good to see you, Joe, as we move into the middle of August. And I am indeed in the State House today. If you're watching us on YouTube or on cable access right now, as I like to say, it's good to get out of the house.
Hmm.
As much as we all love Zoom-based meetings, it can get a little stifling to be at home. And I do have some in-person meetings in Boston, as opposed to doing in-person meetings in the district. The last couple of days, I was legit driving from place to place, seeing folks for local meetings. And during the summertime, as I think some of you may appreciate, people like to have meetings closer to home or their place of business, rather than coming into Boston. Although it's acquired to drive during the summer to see me, especially when you're just coming to Boston to see me, as opposed to try to get other things done at home. So the delegation tries to be as convenient as possible for folks, whenever we can, because they know that, John Keenan and Bruce Ayers and speakers the same way. They don't want to make sure that, we can able to see people, and given the fact we're out of session right now, creates more opportunity for us to see people that's more convenient in Quincy.
Yeah, although the big question is, do you have air conditioning in your office? Because otherwise, I'm not coming to meet you there.
Okay. The air conditioning was turned on late to save money. So we were kind of cooking into the month of June.
Oh, gosh.
The staff does not have air conditioning in their space outside of my office. I do have a water-based heating cooling system with a fan. And I would have to open the door, dead serious, from my office to the front office with fans to push cold air into the rest of the suite.
Oh, your poor staff.
That is very true. My
Yeah.
poor staff. And it shows you how old this building is, because we don't have a conventional HVAC.
Right.
You see some HVAC type stuff, but that's actually more of a ventilation issue, not a heating cooling issue.
Uh-huh.
To kind of let naturally move air in and out of the location. So we cooling system took longer to turn on, and last winter it actually took longer to turn on the heating system as well. Again, as part of cost savings. For those who may not be aware, we are having a hiring freeze in the house, except under specific circumstances where you only have one staff person. Obviously, you can replace if you only have one staff person. And speakers already informed us they were doing cost-cutting measures on office supplies and other things as well, reflecting the fact that we are trying to reduce our administrative budgets as best we can in anticipation of perhaps federal cuts coming October 1. So we're really into penny pitching mode over here.
Wow. Wow, I didn't realize that. Yeah, seeing as we're talking about energy, as you predicted, August 1st, electricity rates went up for sure.
Absolutely, because it's based on looking back 6 months, and you take the bid of today, and because of the global energy markets, which we're talking many times right now about, and the fact that the Houthis have hit and killed 6 people, I think yesterday, on tankers trying to get through that side of the Persian, well, that side of Saudi Arabia, really, because Saudi Arabia straddles both sides,
right,
of the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf. That's setting shocks as well. And if you're on basic service, which is the default rate on your electric bill and National Grid, you are subject to the 6-month review process on bid for low price. And unfortunately, if the timing is poor, you're stuck with, unfortunately, a higher rate for 6 months. If you're not on municipal aggregation in Quincy, I do encourage people to do so. It's only good for, I think, another year and 14-ish months or something like that. That's remaining.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like a 27-month contract.
Okay.
But it's not like a 3-year contract. But I mean, regardless, it's still going to be lower at a basic rate.
Right.
You can do it on the city website, but there's also separate websites you can just Google up the sign up. You do need your National Grid account number to do so, as well as verification that you're accepting this proposal. I've had to do that. My utility bill changed names, which means I had to close my accounts at home, well, actually my mother's accounts at home, and had to open brand new accounts
Mhm.
of which did not put me automatically on municipal aggregation.
Right.
Oh, I actually had to put myself onto the city's municipal aggregation for
Yeah, you
energy.
have to opt into it, right? Yeah.
I had to find the website and fill out the form stuff. So that's how come I know you need your account number because I have.
Right. Right, yeah. And municipal aggregation, it's not in every community yet, right?
No, it's something the community has to initiate at the local
Okay,
level to form some kind of committee that's charged with finding the lowest rate
yep,
available energy market and negotiate a fixed contract of time. It is an automatic opt-in. It is not an optional opt-in. You have to choose
okay.
to opt out. So when
Oh,
they make these
okay.
contracts work because they can't guarantee a certain customer size, you can't get the price.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I know it seems weird because you're being forced into something, but these contracts can't exist if you're not forced into it. It's not.
Right.
And then you have to get approved from DPU.
Okay.
So there is DPU actually has a whole process of a municipality going through this process. And then once this process is complete at your level, DPU has to okay it. Once they okay it, the contract is finalized, and then National Grid, in this case, we're National Grid,
Mm-hmm.
is notified and it proceeds to do the integration on the billing. So your
Okay.
bill will show the municipal aggregator rate.
All
And you
right.
get three choices, by the way. You can pay more for full, well, not full, but more renewable. You can pay a little less for some renewable, and you can
Yep.
pay much more less for no renewable.
Yep. As I recall here in Quincy, folks were opted into the middle range, and then you could change either way you wanted to.
Yeah, so you can choose how much you would like to pay. So
Right.
that's an individual consumer decision.
Right.
As we discussed multiple times, if CPI number came out today, um, people are trying to find a way to save as much money as possible as they can right now.
Yeah, and it can be significant, especially if you have a larger household. It could rack up the savings pretty quickly.
And right now, because of the heat, especially the last 6 weeks, since July 4th, especially, it's been
Yep.
brutal in heat. And whether it be running fans or air conditioning, you are using a lot of power right now.
Yes, for sure. Maybe even more than the winter. Yeah, so it's worth looking into for sure. At least here in Quincy and your community, if you have municipal aggregation. If not, encourage your community leaders to look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're not listening, if you're listening to us not in Quincy, and you're wondering, definitely contact your local officials to see if they're interested in moving forward in a municipal aggregation contract.
Mm,
They need to do the local research and the right bid process pursuant to DPU regulations. It is work. It's not just pick anybody because you want to get the best rate.
mhm.
But be mindful that you're locked into a contract for a fixed period of time, and or you can go out to the open market yourself and find your own energy supplier
Yep.
that's in the open market that actually compete against other energy suppliers. And obviously, I tell folks definitely have them inform review the entire contract, at a fixed rate for a certain number of years. But I also remind folks that be sure to ask if there's an auto renew
Good point. Yes.
so that when the term of contract is up and you find yourself forced back on the basic rate because the
Yep.
contract is up, or you continue to auto renew, which means you're locked in for another period of time that you may or may not be locked in, depending if you're happy or not. So just like your cell phone companies and other types of billing, you do continuously use. However, unlike those types of billing, competitive supply energy is a fixed contract time.
Hmm.
So again, everyone's circumstance is different, everyone's desire is different, and how they want to spend the money on electricity or energy on electricity. But that's your individual decision. But I do advise some consumer awareness, and it's always good to ask more questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I know just earlier this week, the governor re-emphasized passage of her proposed energy bill. I think she put it out last year, I think. I think it's still in committee.
Yeah, it's in conference committee currently.
Yeah.
We'll always wait to see how this plays out as you move through the remainder of the year, and we'll see if when we're called back to take votes or not. I'm not entirely clear how this second half works. So I know.
Don't travel too far from home, right?
Yeah, we're on call, so I'm not
Right.
actually clear. I'm sure we had no on call in August. I'm pretty much confident, so particularly the September 1 primary is rolling around fast.
Yes.
So there'll be no on call this month. But I really do not know what's going to happen, and I'm not looking for sympathy or concern for everyone. It's just stating a fact. I do
Yep.
not know how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Also, I saw this week the state put out guidelines on changes to potential changes to Medicaid when the big beautiful bill takes effect.
Yeah, folks in Medicaid already started the reapplication process at the beginning of the year. I believe it's every 6 months right now. They're doing reauthorizations at the federal
Okay,
level. This is not us. This is
right.
the beautiful bill and the Republicans in Congress. And I do understand the need for rechecks, but rechecking folks in a staggered manner rather doing everyone at the same time
Hmm.
can be overwhelming for staff reviewing. And if you're overwhelmed, it increases the odds of errors.
Hmm. That's right.
So, I mean, it's always been somewhat of a staggered system regarding review. So, but the big beautiful bill in this presidential administration has created a situation where you might potentially have more errors because, again, if you're, as I think everyone listening is a human being, unless you're AI, which may be true in the case it's probably an AI listening. You all understand, and if you've got too much going on, the odds of errors go up.
Something falls through the cracks. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just nature of being human. It's
right.
imperfect. We're imperfect folks, right? So we'll see how that works out. And they're changing the Medicaid guidelines. They're changing prescription drugs, some for the better, some for worse. They just announced vaccine changes again regarding guidelines for that. Again, they're guidelines. That doesn't mean it's mandatory. I think people forget that
True.
guidelines, not mandatory. It means that medical professionals provide you the guidelines, but also can provide you additional recommendations of which what to do. And then as a parent or as an adult, you can follow the guidelines and or the recommendations of your medical provider. So
Right.
I think people need to be aware of that. People assume guidelines mean mandatory regulations. Guidelines are what they sound like, the guidelines.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Yeah.
So, please be aware of that. And, Medicaid's going to have more changes of which the state governments operate on behalf of the federal government. And, whether or not we're able to fully staff those changes is a good question. And whether we're funded to staff them.
Mm,
Federal government contributes to an employee cost for their programs. Your state tax dollars pay a portion of those programs in terms of staffing, and federal government pays a portion as well on those staffing federal programs. We and the municipal governments are the same way. We like to keep our tax dollars segregated.
right.
Federal money goes from the federal tax dollars, state money goes to federal tax, state
Yep.
money goes to state programs, and the local goes to local. So, obviously I've talked about in the past that people want us to provide replacement money, not supplement, replacement money for federal programs. Your state tax dollars are meant to try to do state programs or special programs the state do to supplement federal programs.
Mm,
Actually replace a federal program using state dollars.
mhm.
Well, it's not our program, but it is our problem.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to determine, first of all, do you fund it? Second of all, how do you fund it?
And also, if you start funding it, the federal government would just walk away.
That's right. It's like, oh, they've taken that over now. We don't have to pay for that anymore, right?
That's correct. That's a
Yeah.
legit concern.
Yeah.
And I think people sometimes lose sight of that concern too, because that means your state tax dollars are not being utilized for state programs and state administration.
Mhm.
Instead, is paying for a federal program that should be paid by your federal tax dollars.
Right. Right. Speaking of federal programs, I understand you had a meeting with FEMA regarding grants to the city of Quincy.
Yeah, thank you to Senator Ed Markey's office, working with Senator Warren as well as Congressman Lynch's offices to set up a meeting with the FEMA regional director and his staff, along with the city of Quincy's engineer, incoming DPW commissioner, as well as their engineers and MEMA. MEMA actually came too. It's actually quite a full room. And this is regarding the over $500,000. So it's, I think, $595, but it's well over $500,000 on a seawall project along Manhattan Avenue on the way to Net Island. As we know, basically we had 4 major storms from essentially 2012 to 2018 batter our seawalls, especially along Adam Shore and House Neck, and the area around the Willows is pretty beat up. And we qualified for federal dollars in the past, which FEMA had announced to the state and the municipalities. There was, I think, 7 in total, that they were not going to get any more funding for these pending projects. And FEMA came down to have a conversation with the federal state delegations, as well as the city And it was actually a very productive meeting. I'll be very frank. It was very productive. A lot of engineering talk. I'm not an engineer, so I wasn't clear exactly what the engineering talk was about. And of course, a lot of bureaucracy. And the city government, as well as MEMA, did a great job on the bureaucratic conversation on what they need to do. And I'm pretty comfortable now that the city, working with MEMA and FEMA, will secure this funding, meeting a number of different deadlines and document and permitting deadlines that FEMA is looking for. The response from FEMA is largely the fact that a lot of these cases open from 2018. As they go through the records, it's 2026. They would like to start clearing their plate a little bit on these open things from 8 years ago, which is not unreasonable. But they're also super reasonable on helping us out on securing this funding to complete those parts of the seawall. And the city and MEMA and FEMA is going to follow conversation to ensure that everybody knows what's being looked for and get the job done. Hopefully, well, actually, it needs to be not hopefully it needs to be done by December 31st, 2027. So this is along the Manhattan Avenue to Nut Island portion of seawall that actually is being paid for by state, federal, and city money, but it's not really being commingled in certain sections. The FEMA money needs to be paid for a section of the wall itself, and I'll leave it to the city and FEMA and MEMA to figure out how to make sure that the different forms of funding is appropriately allocated to certain sections of the seawall.
Yeah, no, I understand. They know best where to put the priorities.
Oh, absolutely. Don't ask me about how this entire accounting and engineering and all this works. I think I like the residents. I would like to see a seawall repair and replacement. I will not pretend to understand the details. I think people are really just more concerned about the results. But I think people should appreciate a lot of the work that the city, the state, and working with the federal delegation and the federal government here on finding a solution that will yield a positive result in the end.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, 2018, it was devastating. The flooding, folks had to be evacuated in their high water vehicles because of the deluge that came in. So it's necessary for sure.
It is absolutely necessary. So you don't forget, we had the Snowzilla years.
That's right.
And then, you go back far enough, we had those massive floods in 2010, and 2012 too. So, I mean, there was a lot of major storms hitting us through the 2010s. So again, I'm very confident, and it's great seeing municipal, state, and federal officials working together to find a solution that honestly benefits residents here.
Oh, that's great news. Excellent. You were also at City Hall this week, Tacky, with the mayor.
Yeah, Senator Keenan and I presented the mayor a replica copy of the Declaration of Independence. It is actually a replica of the original parchment paper, as well as the printing as the original. It obviously doesn't have the signatures because we don't have a signature page. It turns out this is somewhat historically interesting because Massachusetts, at the time of 1776, was the only state to provide a replica copy to all cities and towns at the time to read in their town squares the Declaration of Independence as mandated by the provincial government of Massachusetts at the time. So, yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize we're the only state that printed replica copies for the municipalities and mandated the reading of it.
Yeah.
Public forum, I'm calling it town square, but public forum.
Right.
For the residents to hear.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is like the first real type of mass distribution of social media, I suppose.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, that's true. Yeah. And do they do it every year?
No, it's just letting people know that we've signed the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, all right. Okay.
How else would you know?
Yeah, you couldn't just text somebody, right?
That's exactly it. I mean, people, don't always appreciate the fact that travel time back then could take, many, many weeks get from Philadelphia to Boston or New York, even if it's just a single rider. But imagine going from like Philadelphia down to like South Carolina, and you don't have any modern roadways, nor contiguously modern roads. Contiguous modern roads is really result of, the Eisenhower administration's interstate highways,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything was non-contiguous, and people remember Route 9 was the only way to get out of Western Massachusetts many
Yes.
years before the Mass Pike. So, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, in the immediate area, everyone knew it took a long time. And even then, I had to reach every community somehow. And, you would have to, read a document, announcing to your local community to show up this time. There's an announcement to be made, right?
Yeah, the town crier would read it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think people don't really appreciate today the amount of necessity of effort, time, and information delay people would need to even know a Declaration of Independence is signed. So Massachusetts wanted to make sure that everybody was able to hear the words of the Declaration of Independence, because literacy is a little bit of a thing, depending on who you are.
Yep.
Everyone needs to hear the words of what was done in Philadelphia verbatim. So it's 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. The state did a full replica, down to the parchment and the ink of the Declaration of Independence for each city and town to memorialize somewhere.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah, so all 351 communities got one. And
Yeah.
They were given to state delegations for them to present to local communities.
Yeah. So do you know if it's on display at City Hall? Can folks go see it? Or?
The mayor and his folks are picking a spot in City Hall someplace.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
So I done my part. I delivered documents. Senator Key and I delivered a document. We did.
Did the state do it for the bicentennial? In 1976?
I do not know.
Okay.
I was a kid. I was alive, but I was a kid. So I couldn't tell you. But it's it's a very cool thing. I do actually have some bicentennial coins.
Yes, I have
some
many of those
$50
too.
and
Yeah.
some, I think it was a dollar coin, if I remember correctly.
There was a dollar coin and a $2 bill.
Yeah, I remember. I do have some old dollar coins from 1776.
Yeah.
So I don't think it has any real silver value because.
Oh no, it was just kind of a token thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is currency.
Yes. Oh, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's more of a collector's thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember having those as a child. I still have them. They're sitting in a little piggy bank at home. So
yeah, I'm sure everybody's got something like that somewhere. Yeah, that's fun. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. These memorabilia is part of your life. And it's a good reflection as well. So no, I think it was a fun thing to do. It was a great thing to present, and every community should or will be having one of these someplace, and how each community wants to display it's up to them. But I didn't realize how cool it was until we got the email from the chair of the Joint Community Tourism explaining this whole story of why we do this.
Yeah, I've seen the original at the National Archives in Washington. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, I haven't done that.
Yeah, I recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point I got to make a DC trip. I haven't been there since I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah, it's very different.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Another longstanding tradition here in Quincy coming up. It's August Moon Festival time.
Yeah, somebody may be hearing this a little bit late, but August Moon Festival is August 16th, sorry, to August 16th. We do August Moon Festival during the month of August, even though the lunar calendar puts the 8th month into the month of September here. But for the sake of honestly easy, we just do the August Moon Festival in August, not using the lunar calendar for that. It's one of the longest running August moons in the state, not as old as Chinatown, but probably among the oldest. And it's definitely one of the largest events in South Shore. 11 to 3 in front of the high school in Cottington Street and taking up the road. Kickoff on entertainment starts at 12. There'll be plenty of food vendors, social service programs, and I will be there myself with my Tacky Chan fans and jaw openers to give away to folks. I've pretty much, except for the COVID years, I've been there every year, passing out campaign material, fancy jar openers, as well as, talking to constituent about issues. And, we do pick up some work at the event. We have people express concerns or pleasure, displeasure, very polite. People have always been very polite, despite their pleasure or displeasure. I always felt very polite. And Sometimes we get a constituent case or two and we'll pick it up right then at the booth. So my objective is to give away everything and then I get to go home.
Okay. So, so help Tacky out and go get some free stuff.
Yeah, take one, take five, whatever makes you happy.
It's the 39th annual here in Quincy this year.
It is.
Yeah,
For some of you may not be aware, before Quincy Asian Resources, before Corey's existence, it was actually run by the Walls Lutheran Church
that's right.
parking lot in the very first years. And then Impact Quincy, which is part of Bay State Community Services, ran the event. And then I actually started running it when there was the Quincy Asian American Association, which is just a neighborhood group. And then eventually, when Quincy Asian Resources was founded, actually 25 years ago, this November, is our incorporation papers 25 years this November, they adopted it. So for 25 years out of 39, it's been under Quincy Asian Resources. But on its 39 years, it has had 4 different sponsors organizing it, or 4 organizations organizing, of which I think I chaired maybe 12 of them
Yeah.
on organizing it. So it's gone a long way from a parking lot to being a true street fair.
For sure, yeah, and it's, there's all kinds of live performances, and of course many vendors as well.
And it's also an opportunity of cultural knowledge and exchange.
Mhm.
Every year I talk about the fact it's a story about a rabbit, a moon, and a princess, or a lover, depending on the story. And each a part of China has a slightly variation about the August moon itself. It is a harvest moon, which is why in the lunar calendar it would be September, partially celebrating the harvest as well.
Mhm.
But partially it's like Lunar New Year and Memorial Day and other holidays that are secular. There's always a folk tale that goes with it.
Yeah, yeah. Growing up, do you remember going to August Moons?
We went to the one in Chinatown quite a bit,
Did
actually,
you? Yeah.
as a child. It was like, holding your dad age, as a 7-year-old. We went to quite a few August moons in Chinatown. And it was also a very different Chinatown, right? It was much more residential. People just came downstairs kind of thing. Much
Okay.
more smaller businesses, a lot less restaurants, believe it or not, more retail in Chinatown.
Oh, interesting.
Because they were serving the residents there, retail was serving residents as
Gotcha.
opposed to being a destination. And we did quite a few of those as a kid. And then I got involved with really August Moon Festival here when I got out of college
Okay.
and started being more of a greater participant and spending more time at these different festivals to meet people and understand what's going on around me.
Right.
So that's kind of, and again, like I said, it's 39 years old. So, I've been at this 32 years or 31 years doing this kind of stuff, whether volunteer or in government or politics or whatever. So, it's an older event than I am. But it was the original formation was during my college years. So obviously,
Oh, all right.
preoccupied by other things.
And I know other communities, I think Braintree has one now, and some other communities are starting theirs as well.
Yes, actually, it's predominantly Chinese community. Harvest Moon is not uniquely August Moon. Harvest Moon is not uniquely Chinese.
Oh,
Most of them are organized by Chinese organizations. But again, it's a lunar calendar. It's not uniquely just a Chinese issue.
right.
And even in China, the story varies slightly on the folklore behind this.
Of course, as most traditions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the big event in the district. Going forwards, what are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm hoping for a quiet second half of the month of August, to be frank with you. And again, remind folks, primary day is September 1, very unusual day for primary day. Mail-in ballots are available. Florida Quincy Sun flat out says they're available. And when I was visiting the mayor of Senator Keenan yesterday, the clerk's office has the early voting booth available, as well as mail-in ballots. So there's plenty of ways for folks to vote and participate on September 1. The only thing stopping you from participating voting is you.
That's right. Yeah, it couldn't be any easier. There's, as you mentioned, mail-in, there's early voting, there's absentee balloting, and then there's go to the polls like you normally did on September 1st.
And I said before, I'm going to have some new firsts in my personal life, but I will be voting September 1st on Beecham Law School.
Very good. How do we get a hold of you in the meantime, Techie?
617-722-2370, 617-722-2370 is the phone number. It's an automated system, so be aware it's not my suite. I'm aware people have commented on it. I do not control the suite. So as a result, you have to wait for the phone tree a little while to get to my name. For some reason people think I'm in Congress and everyone gets their own phone line. This isn't Congress, this is the State House. Room 42, as you can tell, I'm here. So we are staffed. Tacky.chan@mahouse.gov, tacky, tackey.chan@mahouse.gov. I do see all my emails. We do prioritize. I talk about this all the time about how we prioritize regarding constituent needs. State Representative Tacky Chan, Facebook, we're corresponding Instagram. You can see pictures of the mayor and Senator Keenan myself as we do this kind of like sharing daisy chain thing because social media. TackyChan.org is the resource page. MAlegislature.gov is the legislature's webpage. Again, I encourage people to use that. It's a great resource. And of course, me and Joe be here every week or 2 weeks. And I was on State View with Mark Crosby yesterday. So it was part of my district work. I stopped in with Mark Crosby and ended up doing a speed round of bills in under 28 minutes. And
Oh, I'll have to watch that. That sounds like fun. Okay.
yeah, we're gonna actually, I think we're gonna make a contest. I suggest that we're gonna do like a buzzer scenario.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay.
See how much you can blurt out in 30 seconds or less.
A lot. You'd be surprised how much.
Yeah, I'll be talking very fast, but
That's right.
maybe we'll do like see how much I can say in 30 seconds on something. But also again, I'm bad at statistics. So right off the bat, I got all my local aid numbers wrong.
Okay. Okay.
So that's an error right off the top. I flubbed a Mark Crosby show right away yesterday.
Try again next time.
So yeah, I'll be back obviously. But yeah, no, QATV is a great resource. We talk about this QATV at qatv.org. You know, email Joe, email Mark, email anybody if you're interested on other topics that does not involve politics and government. Happy to talk about anything you'd like to hear.
Yes, absolutely. Love to hear from folks. No question. All right. Thank you so much, Techie. Happy August Moon. Stay cool.
You too.